Hello guys, and welcome to the final episode of the Romania campaign here in Victoria 2 with the historical project mod. So, in the previous episode we, I would say against the odds, were able to fight a war single-handedly against Russia, the Danubian Confederation, France, and the United States. To be fair, the Danubians, the Danubians were doing fine. They had like 200,000 troops at some point in one battle. Or was it like 266? I don't remember exactly how many there were. I guess it varied a bit depending on reinforcements and people who died and, you know, stuff like that. Stuff that happens in war. Of course, those were primarily mobilized forces, as the actual army of Austria was, well, actually the army has gotten back up to size, which is kind of hilarious how the army of the Danubians actually grew during the war. But I guess that was primarily because it was so small previously. But obviously the main threat, that was Russia. But, you know, they have teched up a decent bit. They are now only 6 techs behind, but that's still 6 techs, you know, that does matter. Especially because a lot of these late game techs, they really do help, like 25% tactics. I mean, that's normal, but, you know, 50% more morale compared to the 25% you gain in the other one. Yeah, look, this one only gives 10, so. And obviously, you know, planes and tanks and all of this kind of shit that I had that the Russians didn't. But I'm pretty sure they did have, what is it called? Gas attack defense this time around, but still, I dare say we did pretty well. And yeah, I think we have a very nice looking border right now. And I wanted to keep going. I could have obviously done that, you know, tried to take this place, but I don't know. Actually, no, I couldn't have done that at all. I don't have the infamy, and it's too late in the game to really lose it. I mean, technically, I guess I could have released my African colonies, but I honestly don't really want this province. I feel like my... I mean, I think it would look pretty nice. Only problem is it would make Russia look very derpy. So, I mean, Russia already looks a bit weird now that we have sort of... Yeah, me and Germany are sort of cooperating here, trying to cut Poland off from the rest of Russia. It would have been kind of cool if we could have pulled that off. Say if if the Germans would have conquered Brest and... or Pinsk maybe. Yeah, that would have been even better. If they had taken Pinsk, then Poland could have easily revolted. Well, maybe. Maybe the AI Germans would have just given them access because the AI is a bit stupid sometimes. As in, they're very stupid sometimes. But yeah, now there's not much left to do. We are really just hanging out now. And I guess we're doing a colonial exposition. That's neat. But yeah, we're killing rebels. Okay. Okay, so we are doing stuff, but you know, the real primary game is all done at this point. I really doubt there's going to be more wars, and I know at least for a fact that I'm not going to be starting any more wars. Because honestly, why would I? Let's actually put a garrison in Constantinople, just because I feel like that's fitting. I guess this army can split. Here I am saying we're not going to go to war, and I can't help myself but organize my army a bit. Because I don't know, it looks neat if, you know, we have troops all over the borders. Although this is technically not a border province, but it looks like that when you zoom out, so we're gonna do that anyways. Yeah. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna skip until the end of the game now, and then we're gonna have a sort of tour of the world to see how shit's been going down. I mean, we could sign the Geneva Convention. That would be sort of hilarious. Because the decision has actually been changed. It no longer reduces your ability to fight wars. It instead gives you extra infamy every month. I guess that sort of works out for us. Although these, I mean, I don't know. None of these things actually would help me at all. Let's commission a warship though, that would be fun. Yeah, we don't have the necessary tech. But whatever, I have the necessary money, let's just put it that way. An ironclad, really? You couldn't give me like a Japanese warship? You couldn't have given me like a proper ship, like a dreadnought? It would have been cool to have like one dreadnought. But no. We have this other ship. Can I build more of those? No. It's not a thing. Very well then. Also, what the fuck is going on? What is going on in the United States? Why exactly are they having a fascist revolt? They have all their provinces, so revanchism is not an issue. They have the most powerful military in the world. Well, maybe second most powerful. No, actually now, it is now officially more powerful than the Germans. Although, holy shit, Japan is even better than that. Although that's primarily because of their boats, though. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to the United States. I mean, they did technically just lose a war. But that would be fucking hilarious if they could fall. Come on, go American fascists! Let's be allies, totally. That would be kind of cool. We will have taught the Americans a lesson. We have shown them the strength of fascism, yes. Also, let's kick out Albania, because, or I mean, kick out Italy of Albania. Albania gets to exist, even if we did mess them up a bit. Ooh, the Convention of Boston. We stand here in Boston, the birthplace of this nation, and the home of the Liberty Bell. Let the bell ring. Let it announce the world that our beloved homeland has fallen from grace. It is up to the Sons of Liberty to rise in its place, to fight for truth and freedom, wherever its meaning has been lost. We will brook no tyrants in America. With these words, a group of delegates from throughout New England have declared their states seceded from the Union. No! Why? The United States is fucking collapsing. That's hilarious. They didn't even become fascist yet. Do you have a course? Yeah, he has a course, so we might see a resurgent United States at some point. Depends though, it's not guaranteed that they're gonna go fascist yet, so... Are we having this shit again? Rebels? In my Romania? I don't think so. Yeah, it's the Turks who are salty, and oh Jesus, the Ukrainians are really salty. Right, let's try and not do this. I do not, as I said, I really don't want another war. Do I even have the points? Yeah, I have the points to suppress those movements. Question is though, will the tension go away fast enough for a crisis to be avoided? Is it even going down here? It should. Philadelphia Convention! Ah yes, the Free States of America has broken away. So the United States does not even have to become a fascist dictatorship. It's sufficient that they just lose a bunch of their land to rebels. I thought there's free states would be bigger than this. Yeah, they have course in all of this. So I don't know why they didn't take that. I don't know. Maybe they'll invade the rest of the states. Come on, go, Confederates! Let's get a fascist confederacy going. That would be fun. They've got a really neat flag. Well, I mean, the fascist Confederate flag in the game is literally just, you know, the flag we all know as the Confederate flag. But obviously, the historical Confederate flag was not the one we associate with the Confederacy. I mean, it was similar, obviously, but, you know. Regardless. Haha! The dream is over. There was once a dream in this country, a dream of a land of liberty, of new opportunities. People would flock to the United States of America seeking freedom, opportunities, and shelter from the horrors of war and intolerance of the old world. The Statue of Liberty, the USA proudest symbol, used to symbolize that, and that was the first thing immigrants saw when entering our country. The statue is still there, standing ominously in the Bay of New York, but it does not represent that dream anymore, nor any of the values it used to. With the recrudescence of the institutions in our country, the change from a democratic government, the statue lost all meaning, and people from all over the world stopped being enchanted by what it represented. The dream is over. So yeah, the United States of America. So they don't actually change their name, and all they literally do is just adjust the square in the corner. Yeah, I totally forgot to install the square flag mod, didn't I? Shit, I need to do that. That doesn't come with HPM. You have to actually download it separately and install it. That's a shame. So we can't really see the whole flag. It's just a, I don't know, a shield with an L on it. Silver Legion. Maybe it stands for Legions. Be too unreasonable with it. So yeah, now the question is, will they... Jesus, they have a lot of people. 66 million? And that's... Yeah, that's without the Free States. Seriously though, what the... Where are the people living? Oh yeah, that's because they own India. I was like, holy shit. When did you get that many people? That is mental. Yeah, I don't really know what technologies I should even get here. Is there enough time in the game to get this? Yeah, there is. So I guess we'll do that. But yeah, so, I don't know. American Civil War when? Come on, you guys still have a lot of power, so you should totally invade the Free States. Yeah, they don't have shit. You can mobilize the Indian forces and reunite the Americas under a fascist government. Ah, look at this. We can drain the Pinsk marshes. Do we even own the Pinsk? No. Well, I guess we have one province within the marsh territory here. In Slutsk. Yeah, the names in this general area are really good. Brest, Slutsk. It's really lovely. But yeah, childish humor aside, let's drain the marshes, because why not? And let's commission another warship, because I need to spend my money. Drained marsh. There we are. So this province now gets a modifier. Can't really see it though, but it's supposed to be here. Damn it, we have tension again. No, okay, it's going down. Or have the movements gone back up? No, it's just the Danubians who are being salty. Not a lot of them though, so I'm going to focus my points on suppressing the Russians. But yeah, here we are on the last day of the game. So yeah, I artificially lowered the taxes a bit in order to see how wealthy we could possibly get. It doesn't really look like we are that wealthy of a nation. People are really just getting their everyday needs. What is best though, life needs or everyday needs? I don't know. Still kind of sad to see how we didn't actually get that. Yeah, well, there's a tiny percentage getting luxury needs, but that's really it. But yeah, let's get our tour of the world started. So I guess we can start with our country itself before we look at the rest of the world. Obviously, our country is the primary focus. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with these borders. I hope you agree. Obviously, I have, well, not obviously, I guess, but well, if you watch this channel long enough, maybe it is obviously, or obvious, I should say. I've not been able to read your comments after the God, was it episode 9? I think. Yeah, I think it was episode 9, the episode where I cheated to get these provinces. So if you had any suggestions for what you wanted me to conquer or do or whatever, then I have not been able to implement any of those. But this is sort of, well, honestly, when I started this campaign, I never actually intended to conquer Bulgaria. That was more of a thing I just did. I mean, you remember back, I actually took full infamy for that, because I just saw an opportunity and I realized there was nothing else I could really use my infamy for, so I thought, fuck it, why not? And it resulted in something pretty awesome. We were able to take all of this general region, and it, you know, it sort of justified our later conquest of Constantinople, and, you know, the restoration of Constantinople to, well, to the name of Constantinople. So I think that was pretty cool. We have a nationalist agitation. That's fine. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. We also, of course, have our border following the Tisa River. Of course, I have no idea whether or not I'm pronouncing that correctly. That is an unknown thing in this campaign. Now, I don't know, is this as well the Tisa River? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter, because at this point, like right here, our border stops following this river, right? And instead, we went up here. So I've controlled this province for quite some time. We can see that by the fact that there is quite a lot of Romanians up here. Now, it's kind of sad, actually, because this used to be one of the most populated and, you know, good states in the game. It has oil, coal, but through our repeated genocides, there's like no one living here anymore. I mean, compare the western part, or I guess this is East Galicia, yeah, compared to West Galicia, which has 200,000, 100,000, 200, well, almost 300 here. And here we have like 20,000, 10,000, 20, almost 90. Yeah, it's quite bad. It's this like little hole in the middle of a bunch of populated areas. Ungvar was able to keep it up somewhat though, despite the repeated genocide. You know, it was a relatively late addition, which can be seen by the relatively small amount of Romanians living here. Although I think the starting Romanian population was only 1% or something like that, so despite everything, we were able to make some progress there. These provinces, yeah, they got some minorities, although not these two. Well, I think I see some Romanian there. Yeah, 1% Romanian in Szeged, although this one is pretty much just Hungarian. Almost feels like the only thing we really achieved here was killing off all the Germans, but whatever. In time, you know, what would have made sense is having a, you know, population exchange with Hungary. But sadly the game mechanics do not allow for that, so yeah. We obviously have the northern provinces, which are really just Jewish and Ukrainian. Yeah, I said, a surprising amount of Jews here. Also, I really don't know how Jewish migration works in this game. Like, where are they, what are they attracted to? Also, there are Turks up here, that's interesting. I presumably they must have come from down here in the last parts of the game. Because I don't think the Russians had a lot of Turkish immigrants. But this would have been good though, had the game gone on a bit further. Well, actually no, Turkish is notoriously hard to assimilate, that is true. Because they are Muslim, and Muslims are annoying to assimilate. But these Polish people, and well, no, not the Russians, but yeah, these Polish citizens, they should have eventually become Romanians, so if the game had run a bit further, then maybe. Because you can see, like, speaking of the Jews though, a province that starts out as a majority Jewish province is Vilnius, but at this point it's only 2%. But I'm pretty sure that these provinces down here, I don't really know what the Jewish population here is, but still 21%. That's pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, Jews in this game are really good because they have a lot of literacy. So, I mean, you can just look at the demographics here. You can see that the Ukrainians have like 80%. Well, this province is well, there are some Greeks who just don't know how to read. But you can look at all of the Jewish populations, they're all at 100%. I think there was a province that had even worse literacy rates. No, actually, I guess I must have looked at that right after I conquered it. If I have had this great of a growth, I guess, in the literacy level, that's kind of impressive for only a couple of years of controlling this. I mean, I did only control this for a couple of years. Well, we see some of the old levels of literacy down here, and 70%, 50, yeah, okay, they're still pretty illiterate. It's definitely the some of these areas that don't have a lot of literacy. But the Jews always have 100. I don't think they start out with 100, but they start out with like 50 something, so they are much quicker to get up to 100. Jesus, as well, there's a lot of Turks. Actually, I think the colors are a bit artificial. You can see, like, my capital has almost 700,000, but there are no real Turkish provinces that can compete with that, so I don't know why they are more highlighted. Like, I know the game does sort of highlight stuff relevant to the populations around it, which is why all of India is just not glowing. But well, I guess we can look at this map, see how our population stacks up. You can see that there is a slightly greener area here, as well as along the border, and of course Bulgaria is rather green. And then we got some slightly red areas here in the middle. Obviously, we have a lot of red stuff going on down here in Africa, which I assume is part of the reason that our European holdings do not show off as quite as populated. But let's see, are we even a majority? Yeah, we're majority Romanian. Yeah, there's twice as many Romanians as there are the next smallest minority, which are the Hausa. Which is mainly because they are the primary dudes who hang out in Sokoto, and Sokoto obviously has a lot of people in it. But yeah, I guess we can finally actually look on the culture map mode of our nation. We were able to quote-unquote assimilate most of Bulgaria. We have some visible minorities still here, 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 and here. It's kind of nice actually, because Vidin, if you remember, does actually start out with a decent Romanian population. So it's kind of cool how we actually ended up making Vidin a majority Romanian area. This province as well was primarily Romanian. I mean, it still is, but it used to be the pure Romanian color. But these ones are really well assimilated. So is that German? Why are there Germans down here? Guess maybe some Germans just wanted a permanent holiday down in Greece. I can respect that. Sofia, though, the capital of Bulgaria, has remained a stronghold of Romanian resistance. So they have not been willing to assimilate or be kicked out of the country. So respect to that, I guess. The border provinces here, though, became thoroughly Romanianized. So that's pretty cool to see. They did, of course, start out with significant Romanian minorities, so it's understandable to see why. I mean, really, often one of the big sort of disadvantages of trying to convert provinces to mark culture in the way I'm doing it is that when you actually commit genocide, you get this modifier that reduces the immigration attraction, which again makes it so that people from actual Romanian provinces are not interested in moving here. So if I had been smart about it, I guess I would have tried and go a bit further between the genocides. Yeah, maybe the last one I could have waited a bit before I started it. But oh well. I'm sure this is not the last time I commit genocide in this stupid game. So we will just wait and see. Yeah, let's check out our holdings in Africa, I guess. This looks like it's Romanian, but it's not. It's actually Tiv, whatever that is. I guess it's just some African nation / tribe. But in this one province up here, we actually have a Romanian majority. I don't know why a bunch of Romanians decided to show up here. But yeah, look at that, 75,000 Romanians just casually hanging out. They are extremely unemployed though for some reason. That's weird. Surprisingly good literacy rates in our colonies. Also, it's kind of cool how you can see the local Africans are actually converting to Orthodoxy. African Minor, Mossi. There's some really big Orthodox populations. I mean, let's check out Wari, for example. Yeah, look at that. 376,000 Ijau Orthodox people getting their everyday needs, so that's pretty cool. Nicely literate, proper colonial subjects. Still a lot of them sticking to animism, but you can see that there is actual conversion going on. 562 of them will convert to Orthodoxy each day. So that's neat. That is very neat. There are also some slight Romanian minorities elsewhere. You got like 1%. Oh, there we go. 3%. But I mean, no European nations will really achieve much when it comes to colonizing Africa with actual pops, other than, the major states that have a lot of population. Romania, to be fair, has a decent pop, but it's nothing compared to France or Germany, and Britain, obviously, who can really change the demographics of this area. But we'll look at the culture makeup of Africa a bit later, I think. So now that we've looked at our own country, I mean, I guess we can take a last look at industry, but to be honest, it's not super interesting. Click one last upgrade there. So Wallachia is our obviously best industrial state. It's the state that we started with, and man, we're making some fucking epic profits there. Look at that. Huh, who would have thought that ammunition actually ended up being really profitable? I was a bit lazy though. I should have built a lot more of these automobile and airplane factories, but I just couldn't be bothered because, it's so late in the game that it doesn't make a difference. I mean, yeah, because at the end of the day, you still need people to actually work the factories, and the working population of Romania could have only increased so fast, so... We can look at our own production here. We are... Where do we see the sort of world producers of industrial goods? Yeah, we're the third largest oil producer in the world, beating Russia actually. The Mexicans are actually the second though. That's kind of cool. And I expected the Dutch to be up there because they own Indonesia, but still. Yeah, we're the biggest. Barely though. We're barely the biggest rubber producers because of our African colonies. We're not even here we're not even a producer of tropical wood. Well, I think we produce maybe a bit, but most of those provinces converted to rubber, which is fine because rubber is more valuable anyways. I don't really know any other resources that we are really going to be noticeable in. Nah, we don't produce enough liquor. Yeah, tanks actually. We are third in tank production and fifth in airplane production, and that's despite me not really focusing on it. We're not noticeable in cars or any of these other things. Well, actually no, we are the fourth largest producer of telephones. Nothing compared to Germany though, but still pretty good. I think those are all the goods that we are going to be, you know, good at producing, so that's fine. So yeah, let's start by looking through the political map mode of the world. Just needed some water there. So yeah, I guess we can look at Europe first. We have, I mean, we've seen this quite often, although I'm not exactly sure how my editing has affected your ability to keep an eye on how things look here. Scandinavia looks pretty much like it does today, with a couple of exceptions, that is. We got an independent Iceland, independent Faroes, which is different because Faroes is today under Denmark. Denmark is also not quite as big as they are today. They do not have Schleswig. And obviously Finland is not independent. I don't know, is there any events or anything really that makes Finland independent? Because you would think there would be. Because there is an event that makes Norway independent around the time they did historically. Catalonia obviously is independent, and they have been able to, well, I assume they suffer from similar problems that the Greeks do, in that they have a hard time keeping their territory Catalan. But I mean, look at this though. With the new, kick out the Turks decisions, you can see that the Greeks actually have no, they have no actual Turkish minorities. You can see the legacy of the Turkish occupation in that there are Kurds and Arabs and stuff like that hanging out in Greece, but no actual Turks anymore. So I guess they got to click the button. This province is also slowly getting converted back to Greek after the Albanians controlled it for a while. And no, actually it's opposite. The Albanians still rule this place. Okay then. Well, who knows, maybe it would become properly Albanian in a couple of years. It would probably be a lot of years in game though. Yeah. That's the political map mode of that. Turkey is just Turkey, with the exception of their European holdings, and they still own, the general borders of the Ottoman Empire in World War I. They don't have course on all of it though. They have sort of been reduced to the area that is regarded by Turkish nationalists as, the Turkish core territory. Because, there are a decent bit of Turks in these areas, so yeah, there's even Turkish majorities in some of them, so I guess it's used to justify that. We also got a blobby Afghanistan. I mean, really, it's just an Afghanistan that happened to annex Khiva, it seems. Which is a bit annoying, because it makes these borders with Russia look very derpy. We obviously also have American India, currently being occupied by socialists and commies. And a bunch of Indian independent states. It's maybe something I could have done if I had not been so lazy, is actually swoop in and take some Indian land. Actually, these are civilized, so that wouldn't have worked. And there were, well, Bengal would have been nice. And I totally could have conquered them, because they're primitive. But I honestly just didn't think about it. And it ended up being good, I guess, because we used our infamy in the late game well, I think. Malaysia is independent, and they are actually quite strong in terms of military power. Wow. How many troops do you have? You have 11 brigades? How the hell are you able to have 200 military power? Yeah, it's all their boat. They have a bunch of modern boats, I guess. I guess they inherited the naval technology of Britain. Oh, seems like Japan has conquered the Philippines while I was not looking. The Philippines was a sphereling of mine as well. Spain still controls part of it though. I don't know why just parts of the Philippines got released, but in China we got the Heavenly Kingdom, who has been able to actually keep control over all of China until the end game. I guess it's because they never bothered to westernize. Kind of an interesting strategy, because it's really westernization that causes all of the issues. So I guess just by not bothering to westernize, they were able to stay in control. Aren't they Christian as well? It would kind of be cool to see how many how many people actually ended up converting to Christianity. But the United States controls this. But yeah, that's you know, that is what it is. Sadly, there's no religious map mode, so got Japan here though, doing what Japan generally does in this game, in this mod, I should say. They never did take Taiwan though. Taiwan was able to stay independent. They got a pretty cool flag as well. Manchu is actually the primary population. I guess it is it is technically the remnant of the Qing, because the Qing were kicked out of the mainland. So it's sort of an alternative. It's an alternative Chinese civil war. Instead of the Republic of China being kicked off, it's the Qing Chinese who were kicked off to Taiwan, and the Heavenly Kingdom who stayed on the mainland. Yeah, the Heavenly Kingdom does not have core on this. They don't have cores on this area, so there's actually a lot of the nation they don't have cores on. But they have more cores than the and more, you know, they have better cores as well than the Qing ever had. So where's the capital? It's here in Tianjin or Tianjin. They do have cores on this though, so regardless, Australia is Australia, but we have an independent Indonesia. Really? It's an independent Indonesia though, in probably the least Indonesian part of Indonesia, if that makes any sense. Because I think the Melanesians over here are less related to the rest of the Indonesians than the Indonesians here are today. I think in the modern period, a bunch of like Javanese and other peoples have come over here and sort of began colonizing the western part of New Guinea. I don't know. Yeah, we got some Moluccans here, but I guess they were there previously. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, we shouldn't think too hard about it because it's just a game. Ooh, it's actually surprising a bit of French people hanging out in New Guinea. Although once again, the AI loves to just choose these random provinces, like, oh, I'm just gonna settle in this province specific, and yeah, we're just gonna hang out here and be French. Yeah, France got a lot of the Pacific. This whole general area is just super French. Culturally though, it's it depends on the size of the island, I guess. Some of them are decently French. None of them are actual states though. I guess it costs a lot of points. Ooh, yeah, we got a fascist New Zealand. That's kind of cool. They are primarily Australian, although Australian in this game is just the culture that represents, you know, both New Zealanders and Australians. Although, speaking of Australia, there's a surprising amount of Aborigines who actually stuck around. Yeah, Melbourne is majority Aborigine. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that's it's kind of weird. Like the central deserts and the northern territory, like that's where the Australians are doing good. But once again, that's just the Victoria 2 way of doing things. The AI, when it migrates, does not take climate into account. Ooh, we got a Dutch majority over here. Kopang. Yeah, got some Portuguese people in Dili. That's also normal. And this place is getting assimilated into Japanese. But yeah, I think we'll look on the ethnic map mode later, even if it is one of the most fun one. So yeah, we got the disunited States of America, we got fascist United States still. I have no idea how they actually succeeded and why the United States is so freaking fascist, but there you go. Independent Canada, we have independent Newfoundland and New England and the United States, or Free States I mean. So a pretty divided and kind of interesting North America. The Canadians don't even have cores on Newfoundland. They just never, yeah, I guess it's just, they're just doing their own thing, are they? Yeah. South America is kind of a mess. Brazil decided to blob into Argentina and Bolivia. Guyana is independent. I guess that's because it used to be British, but it is no more. We have a Guatemala that actually owns Belize. Okay, so they are actually also fascists. Do you have, of course, no. Once again, some nations just turn fascist, I guess, for no real good reason. I thought maybe this province started out as a Guatemalan area, but maybe they lost it. Although that might be wrong, though. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know everything about this game. Yeah, we got independent Jamaica, though. Although the rest of the general area that used to be British ended up being American instead of ever going independent. Although there are no national cores here, though, so I guess that makes sense. We've got some interesting mixes there. We've got a British, French. Are there any Yankees though? No, it's just... I've got Irish over here. And this place is really British. But yeah, no actual well, actually, there are Americans here. And Japanese. And Danish. Well, yeah, it starts out as Danish, so that makes sense. This place is majority Dutch, but there's like no one living here, so... I guess that's not too hard to achieve, is it? Because there is actually a focus now to encourage colonial migration. There it is, encourage colonial migration. Once again though, it doesn't actually increase the number of people moving away from Europe. It's just a way to, you know, focus your colonization on certain areas. So say France wanted to make Algeria really French. They could have put those focuses there, and that would have made any potential French colonial migrants choose that area. Well, it would make it so that it's more likely to choose Algeria rather than other areas. You might have prevented, you know, the French from hanging out in the desert all the time and actually try and make them colonize the coast, you know. Yeah, Africa we've seen before, it's a mess. Got an independent Mozambique and Angola, but the Portuguese still cling on to parts of their former colonies, so that's neat. We of course have the mess of nations created by us because we needed to lose infamy. And that's the world. I don't think I've forgotten anything then. Would be a bit awkward to forget a continent, but there are not that many continents to remember. So, infrastructure, we are currently building limited access roads in this area. No, actually, we're just leveling up our railroads to 5. But yeah, most other areas that can have it have these roads. But some of them obviously are mountainous, and there you only get limited amount of railroads, so that's the thing. I didn't actually build these, that was the capitalists who did that. Yeah, I don't think this map mod really is, you know, too much interesting other than that. It's kind of cool to see our core provinces though. You can see how we used a lot of those irredentist decisions, I should say, to claim a lot of this area. There's still this stupid province of Temeswar though that refuses to be a core. It starts out as core, but obviously we lost it because of the stupid Danubians. Yeah, that's really all of it. Everyone has truces with everyone because everyone's been fighting wars against each other. Sweden gave up on Finland though, so that's a thing. They still have a casus belli to invade Russia, but I couldn't tell what that would be. Revolt risk is very low, actually. Although, a revolt risk is a bit weird in this game. Although actually, yeah, I did a lot of reforms right before the game ended here. Like, safety regulations and stuff like that, so I guess that's calmed people down a bit. Plus I've been using my suppression points efficiently, so I guess that's okay. Administration efficiency, we have high efficiency in areas that have a lot of Romanians, but not such high efficiency in others. So, I guess if I hadn't been so lazy I would have actually paid attention and actually encouraged some bureaucrats to get this efficiency up, but oh well. Yeah, we can recruit a bunch of Ukrainians, but obviously I'm not going to bother doing that now. Here's our encouragement. We're generally just trying to get trying to get workers, even if the the actual symbol here is bugged. But it's just the way it is. RGO, once again, not super interesting. Kind of cool seeing how we are producing a lot of the oil though. Also, there's oil in Albania. I did not know that. But yeah, population, we have seen that before. So I guess it's time to look through the world through the lens of cultural majorities and stuff like that. So we have Europe here. We have already looked at our own ethnic makeup. We did sort of accidentally create a Polish majority province over here. So that's kind of neat. I'm pretty sure that starts out as Ukrainian. Poland and Germany, yeah, all of this is like just painfully regular. The Germans have done what they usually do. Although this is kind of cool though, you can actually see some pretty large Lithuanian pops over here. They usually get assimilated. I think they usually do that anyways, but yeah. This area has actually became majority Lithuanian, so would have been kind of cool to see those actually become Lithuanian, but sadly Lithuania is a part of Germany in this game, so that wouldn't work, would it? The Germans, yeah, the Germans are bad at assimilation in this game. They never really achieve much. The only thing I can see they have achieved is actually making this area German. Obviously Luxembourg starts out being rather German, but they have made it super extremely really German, so good on them. They actually don't have a core on it. Really? Pretty sure they get a core on it when they form it. Because otherwise I don't really see how they ever got the province. Maybe it was one of those Great War things against Belgium. They were a great power for some time, so I don't know. It's hard to know. Yeah, back to ethnic. The Italians were able to both keep and mostly assimilate the Savoy region, so good on you, Italy. Same can be said for this area. It now has clear Italian majorities. 50%, 57%, so the Italians have generally done pretty well in this game, so yeah, look at that fucking industrial score. That is good. The Spanish are assimilating the Catalonians, they usually do that. Gibraltar is British, also very normal. The Turks are assimilating quite a bit, but surprisingly though, well, I guess not surprisingly, but interestingly, they did not assimilate as much of the Balkans as they usually do, because we kicked them out. Well, not only did we kick them out, the Serbians kicked them out, and yeah, the Albanians did not, but the Greeks did, so they did not kick them out of Cyprus and these areas though, so that might just be the way the event works. Maybe it's meant to simulate how even to this day a lot of Cyprus is Turkish. So I don't know. The Russians did what they usually do. They assimilated a bunch of Central Asia, this region, and yeah, this is super regular. Although I guess a lot of them got saved from becoming Russian in that they managed to stay independent, and some of them are now becoming Afghan. Kazakh, Turkmen. We're not really seeing any Pashtun assimilation, are we? No. So yeah, that's normal. India, as always, I don't know enough about the area to really know if any interesting changes have happened. Well, I'm pretty sure Nepal is somewhat bigger than they are today. Yeah, we got a greater Nepal going here. And Nepal that includes this area, which, if I had to guess, I would say India. I'm pretty sure this is part of India today. Also, are those really... No, Bengal does have more cores. They just never... Yeah, Bengal have the cores of modern-day Bangladesh for some reason. Don't know why, but there you go. Also, I wonder what needs to happen for them to actually be called Bangladesh. Maybe it's... Presumably it's they become a republic or something like that. But anyways... let's start with Africa, actually. Once again, very normal. The British have done some assimilation over here. The Boers are doing well in the Boer republics. I mean, obviously they're no longer Boer republics, but they're still doing fine. No Europeans I can really see, though. Oh, there are some Frenchies over here in Grand Bissam. So, yep. Should there be, like, random French enclaves? I guess not. The French didn't take much of Africa in this one, so there aren't really any desert areas for them to migrate to. Yeah, the Germans took Algeria, so, or southern or desert Algeria, I could call it. So the French never got to settle the Sahara like they usually enjoy doing. And the Germans don't seem to have that itch, you know, to settle the Sahara, so they never bothered. Although this area down here in German Namakwaland and Hereroland is rather German indeed. Once again though, the Germans, like their French friends or brothers or enemies or wherever, also enjoy settling the areas with low population. Or actually, now this is just silly, because the coastal area here actually has less people than this interior area, but the Germans still refuse to settle there. To be fair, this area is actually a desert, while this area is semi-desert, so I don't know, for once it actually makes a bit of sense. It still just annoys me a bit. Yeah, that's Africa. I don't see anything else that strike me as overly cool. I'm pretty sure these Swahili majorities here are here in the beginning of the game, so that's not surprising. Zanzibar is independent though, so we got a Swahili nation state here. And for once, that's kind of unique in Africa, but the borders of the nation states, or the nation states, actually sort of aligns with the spread of the Swahili people. There are big African minorities, but you know, they don't really have a nation in this game, so for once it's sort of justified. So yeah, I never did point out that this mess has happened, but you know, this is also pretty normal. The South Americans enjoy doing this kind of bullshit, so it has resulted in... Oh wow, really? There's a Ukrainian... Well, it's not a majority, but it's still pretty close. It's kind of funny. They would obviously eventually assimilate into other cultures. Also, are you... What kind of flag is that? Yeah, Argentina went fascist. Would you look at that? But yeah, the nations in general, they have not been very good at assimilating the Patagonian area. Ooh, we actually have Islas Malvinas. So the Argentinians actually got to control the Falklands. That's neat. Also, this has to be one of the most ethnically diverse areas in the world. South Georgia. But yeah, and it's not only that... Sorry, I need to have some water. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm so out of practice just talking constantly. I have become weak because I keep editing my videos. I constantly get talking breaks, but I remember before I edited my videos, my throat would just die. But I really wanted to continue playing, so I had to go on. But luckily that does not happen anymore. Well, except in these long ass episodes where I just do nothing but just talk bullshit about the world. So, but yeah. So well, yeah, in general, it seems like the Native Americans have done quite well for themselves. I guess maybe. No, the Argentinians do not accept Patagonians, so I don't know why they have not assimilated them. Or just, you know, I don't know. Yeah, same with the Chileans. Patagonians have done well for themselves. I guess it's nice to see that for once. But yeah, a lot of these nations have native as an accepted culture. Although not Brazil. I mean, I know for a fact that Brazil has the decision to accept Amazonian and stuff like that, but they just never bothered. So, okay. The Central Americans have done well though in assimilating the natives. Except for Guatemala, they just suck at it for some reason. Maybe that's why they went fascist. They are so salty about their lacking abilities when it comes to assimilation. Also, this place... okay, so this area has racial tensions, and it's because of the Irish. Although maybe it's not because of the Irish. I guess, well, yeah, there are a bunch of black people there, so to be fair, I guess that's... Still though, that's a modifier I've never seen before. Yeah. The Cayman Islands are majority Irish. Neat. Zapotec, Nahua, and yeah, that's also normal. The Mexicans are rarely good at assimilating those guys. Do you accept them? No, you don't. So, but I think the Native Americans have similar modifiers that the Afro-Americans have. That sort of just prevents assimilation. Oh, look at this though. The French Canadians have done okay for themselves. They are actually majorities in a lot of provinces. Well, yeah, 2 of these provinces in southern Ontario are majority French-speaking. Quebec itself, though, is majority British or English-speaking in the northern area, but you know the traditional French area has stayed French. So good for the French Canadians. The Inuits are being displaced from the land, though. The Yankees are moving into Canada. They're moving into Alaska. For some reason, this one province is a stronghold of Dixie culture, but America is like that. Immigration or migration internally is a bit random, so you never really know where these Dixie populations will end up. Sacramento is rather Dixie. So yeah, that's the Americas. Guess we'll go on now to look at the... We have already looked at a bit of this. Yeah, we got the Dutch there, the Filipinos, the of course the Vietnamese are painfully bad at assimilating people. They need to learn. Look at these Cambodian majorities down here. This will not do. Oh well then. Yeah, we got this really interesting situation where a bunch of Japanese people decided to migrate over here. Once again, no one really knows why, but they did it. So there you go. Like, Korea is still entirely Korean, despite being ruled by the Japanese for quite some time. But this area, nope, this is it. This is where the Japanese wanted to go, so that's where they went. The Uyghurs have been able to resist Chinese assimilation quite decently, I would say. They have only really, quote-unquote, lost one province here. The Heavenly Kingdom does not accept Uyghurs, so I don't see a good reason why that happened in this game in particular. Same with the Tibetans. They as well have been able to resist the encroachment of the Chinese quite well. Yeah, Mongolians, Manchus, everyone is doing fine here. Step it up, China! Maybe it has something to do with the Heavenly Kingdom being Christian. Because people have to be of your primary religion in order to assimilate. So maybe what happened is that the... although to be fair, the Uyghurs are Muslims, so... Yeah, no, that wouldn't have made a difference really. So I don't know why. I don't know why that is it. I don't know why that is why it is. Like, can I even talk? No, I can't. Well, let's forget about that then. We got this one province with Yakuts in it. There's one province with Ugrians in Ugrians. What the fuck are Ugrians doing over here? Aren't they from, you know, the Urals? Yeah. Just ran once again. Internal migration in this game is sort of very random. So it seems like a bunch of Ugrians just all of a sudden decided to go over here. No one knows why, but they did. So there you are. We also got some Russian majorities down in modern day Persia, or Iran I should say. In Kovoy, that could you know, that could work as a Russian name. Has been thoroughly Russified. Although to be fair, the percentage is similar in other provinces. Yeah, at least this one. It's just that the ethnic makeup makes it like there's barely more Russians than there are Azerbaijanis in this province, and the other way around in this one. So that's why it is like that. At the end of the day, the actual numbers does not matter that much. It's really just what color the map has. That's... Although to be fair, for those raging about saying that like, oh, if you think that, then you might as well play EU4. Well, point is, like, you want the color on the map to actually represent something real, unlike EU4, which just has like a... Each province just has a name and then a color. In this game you actually have pops, but let's not get into reasons why EU4 is annoying at times. Let us instead look at the last map modes and then wrap this up. So we got fascist loyalties in in Romania, and other than that, the Swedish are being properly socialist. That's nice. Norway is just not doing much though. And Japan is very liberal actually. Yeah, they're a constitutional monarchy, so fair enough. The Americans are really liberal, but they still went fascist though, so no one knows why. You see, I have no idea how this sort of party loyalty thing actually, how does that change dynamically or without the intervention of the player? Because I know for a fact that we created this by national focus, but I have no idea how it works in other nations, or how it works in AI nations, I should say. Like, why do the reactionaries have a lot of loyalty in Oxford for some reason? Nobody knows. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Civilization level, Bengal is the worst nation in the world. For some reason. Yep, they're literally the most primitive. My puppets never got around to civilizing. Still, I think it's silly that they become uncivilized nations. Like, if you release them in the late game, they should just become civilized. But yeah, that's nice and all. Everyone generally hates me. Wait. Oh, never mind. That was who likes Britain. Here we go. Here we can see who likes me. So pretty much anyone that I neighbor, except for the ones that I sort of forced to like me, hate me. Yeah, the world is not very hyped about me. But to be fair, I have committed crimes against humanity, so I dare say it is sort of justified. Got the crisis over here in Russia/Ukraine. Or I guess it would be fair to just call it Ukraine, because we kicked out the Russians. But that will never happen, because we are suppressing them effectively. And yeah, I think that's it. That's really all I had to show off in this playthrough of Victoria 2. So I think we will just end it here with one last glorious look at the Romanian nation, the great Romanian fascist empire that we have forged and created. Here, the children of Rome, the reconquerors of Constantinople. Yes, the true heirs of Rome. Well, Italy gets to be the heir of the West, I guess, but we are the heirs of the Eastern Roman Empire. The Greeks can just go to bed, you know. We are the true Latin speakers of the East. Yes, glory to Romania. And that would be the end of this campaign. So, thanks so much for watching this episode of this Let's Play. And also, thanks so much for watching this Let's Play as a whole. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. It turned out quite, well, yeah, it did legitimately turn out better than I expected. Because as I mentioned previously, I never did expect to conquer Constantinople and Bulgaria. So I am pretty darn pleased with this. So, thanks so much for watching this, and until the next Let's Play, bye.